They came without warning, 37 crystalline vessels that materialized just beyond Luna's orbit. The Vrekari swarm, a species that had evolved in the crushing gravity wells of neutron stars, had studied humanity for decades. They had catalogued Earth's defenses, analyzed human warfare doctrine, and calculated a 99.87% probability of success. What they hadn't accounted for was human improvisation. Admiral Helena Chavez stood on the bridge of the UES Indomitable, Earth's flagship, as tactical displays flashed crimson with incoming fire. The first salvos had already destroyed 13 orbital platforms and 4 destroyer-class vessels. Earth's unified defense fleet was scattered, outgunned, and facing an enemy whose technology allowed them to bend spacetime itself. "Status report," Chavez demanded, her voice steady despite the chaos. 8 minutes to planetary shield failure, Admiral, her XO replied grimly. "Evacuation protocols are at 23%. We need more time." The Vrekari had expected humanity to follow conventional military doctrine, to rally their forces, to establish defensive perimeters, to sacrifice themselves in orderly retreat. It was what any logical species would do. But humans had never been entirely logical. Chavez's eyes narrowed as she studied the enemy formation. "Get me Dr. Okafor." Now, Dr. Imani Okafor had been considered a scientific pariah for years. Her work on quantum resonance technology had been deemed too theoretically unstable for military application. She had been relegated to a small research station on Titan, far from the scientific community that had rejected her. When her face appeared on the view screen, Okafor already understood. "You're going to use my resonators, aren't you?" "Can they be weaponized?" Chavez asked bluntly. Okafor's laugh was sharp. "They were never meant to be weapons. But yes, they'll work precisely once before burning out. You'll need to hit the center of their formation for maximum effect." Within 30 minutes, every civilian manufacturing hub on Earth had repurposed their fabrication facilities. Quantum resonators, devices smaller than a human fist, were being produced by the thousands. Miners in the asteroid belt redirected their haulers toward Earth, vessels loaded with raw materials for the desperate effort. The Vrekari Supreme Coordinator watched with detached interest as the humans' seemingly chaotic defense unfolded. Their ships were moving in patterns contrary to optimal survival strategies. Civilian vessels were flying directly into combat zones. Mining ships were abandoning valuable resource nodes. Erratic behavior consistent with species profile, it communicated to the swarm. "Proceed with primary extinction protocol." What the Vrekari didn't understand was that humanity had learned something vital during their brief, violent history. Sometimes the best defense isn't defense at all. 3 hours into the assault, as the Vrekari fleet contracted for their final push, Admiral Chavez gave the order. Every available vessel, military, civilian, even decades-old satellites, hastily retrofitted with maneuvering thrusters, activated their resonators simultaneously. The effect was instantaneous. The quantum harmonic wave created a cascading disruption in the crystalline molecular structure of the Vrekari ships. The aliens' ability to manipulate spacetime worked against them as the resonance amplified through their hulls, creating microscopic fractures that rapidly expanded. One by one, the magnificent Vrekari vessels shattered like glass, struck by a precise hammer blow. On the Indomitable's bridge, Dr. Okafor watched in vindication and horror as her theorems played out in deadly efficiency. "The resonance pattern," she whispered. "It's more powerful than I calculated." "Will it reach Earth?" Chavez asked sharply. "No. The wave dissipates exponentially with distance." Okafor's eyes remained fixed on the disintegrating alien fleet. "They never understood that our greatest strength isn't our technology or our military." The last Vrekari vessel imploded in a brilliant flash, that briefly outshone the sun. Across Earth, billions watched as the threat that had appeared without warning vanished just as suddenly. In the aftermath, as humanity began rebuilding their orbital defenses, the Galactic Council, which had observed the conflict without intervention, sent their first official communication to Earth. "Your species has demonstrated unexpected capabilities," the message read. The Council requests clarification on the defensive system employed against the Vrikari. Admiral Chavez and Dr. Okafor drafted the response together. "The system you observed wasn't a defense technology. It was the cumulative result of human cooperation, adaptability, and our refusal to accept defeat. We call it improvisation. We suggest you consider its implications carefully before any future interactions with Earth." As news spread throughout the galaxy of how humanity had shattered one of the most technologically advanced species in known space, the untranslatable Vrikari term for humankind was revised in the Galactic Council's archives. What had once meant fragile carbon primitives now carried a warning modifier: "Approach with utmost caution."